Rugby was first introduced as an organized sport in 1895. It has been a dominant sport throughout many nations across the world. Rugby has been gaining traction within America throughout the last decade and is showing significant increase in interest throughout the American sporting world. I began playing rugby when I was in the 7th grade and I played until my senior year in high school. Hi, I'm Jacob Scott, and today I would like to teach you the basic rules of Rugby 7. And the reason behind me wanting to teach rugby is due to the passion I have for the game. If it wasn't for it not being as popular in America in college athletics, I probably would have pursued a rugby career. So, with that being said, let's learn some rugby. Rugby Sevens does not have many rules, but there are a few. The first main rule is there's no forward passing. Ball can only go backwards via passing, and even if you were to tip the ball forward, it is ruled a knock, and the ball is given to the other team right where the incident happened. You are, however, allowed to kick the ball forward, and if all team members are in legal play, it is fair. And by legal play, I mean you must be on sides. The second major rule would be the offsides rule. For this to occur, someone must be behind all defensive players, meaning there's no one in front of them due to them sprinting past the last defensive player, putting themselves in an advantage, which is cheating. The last major rule of rugby is the rule of being a gentleman. You must call all players and even the officials by sir. You may not fight or argue on the field, for this will result in a flag being raised. And the flag being raised will give the other team the ball and it'll cause you to turn it over. Athletes on both teams are supposed to meet after the game, shake hands, and cheer for both teams and officials and wish health and safety upon each member of each team. Rugby has specific apparel guidelines for what players are allowed to wear and not allowed to wear. All rugby teammates are required to have these special shorts on them that have a sewn lip for extra grip strength for lifting and even moving players and tackling. Also, athletes are required to wear soccer cleats due to them not having a toe spike that can dig into somebody's flesh and causing serious injuries. The biggest takeaway from rugby apparel guidelines is there's no gear. Athletes are only permitted to wear shorts and a polo t-shirt due to this being a gentleman's game. Athletes are allowed to wear a scrum cap, which is a thin piece of foaming that goes around the head and covers the head and under chin areas and protects ears and hair. The primary use for this, like I just said, it is to protect the ears and the hair when performing a ruck or a scrum. The game and positions of rugby are pretty simple. The objective of the team of the ball is to score within the try zone. And to score within the try zone, you must tap the ball on the ground. Wherever the ball is tapped, you are then to perform a drop kick into a set of goal posts, almost like a field goal in football, and that equals up to 7 points. Now, at the start of ball play, the teams line up across each other, 7 on offense and 7 on defense, and they must kick the ball to start. The defensive team will then become the offensive team, and they must pursue to pass the ball backwards and advance the ball forwards in the same manner. The other team is trying to pursue and cause tackles, and thus then causing rucks, which is where a tackle is made from a rugby ball carrier, and then the defensive player and the offensive player battle on top of the ball carrier to who gets dominance. And then a scrum half comes out and throws the ball out to a winged back for a receiving yard to continue to advance the ball forward, or they lose the ball and they go back on defense. If a penalty is to ensure or the ball goes out of bounds, there's something called a scrum half. And this is where positions come in rugby, and it's not just dudes running around playing the sport. The scrum half is the guy who maintains the ball and will introduce the ball into the scrum. A scrum is where 3 bigger dudes on both sides of the game, so offensive and defensive, will come together and meet. And the guy in the middle is called a hooker, and the 2 guys on both sides of him are called props. They must link together, bind, bend over, and interlock heads in between one another's shoulders in the window created by heads. And then the scrum half is to roll the ball in, and the hooker in the middle is to hook the ball out with his feet, and the scrum half sweeps back around, grabs the ball from under them, and throws it out to the wing. After this is done, rugby becomes what it is, and anybody is allowed to touch the ball. And like I said, the defensive will try to stop them, and the offensive will try to advance and score the ball on a try. With all points to consider, I hope people can see rugby as an exciting sport, and that with time it may be the next big thing within the sporting industry. Rugby is something I am truly passionate about, and hopefully one day I can find myself either playing or coaching again. I hope with my teaching you gain an understanding of the basic principles of rugby and how the game is played. Rugby isn't complicated, but it is dangerous, and with the rules and the positions that people are put in through the rules and the understanding of the game, you can limit the amount of accidents that are happening. Thank you, and I hope you consider understanding that rugby may one day become a big sporting here in America, and open it with open arms and allow for it to become something. Thank you. Have a good one.